Time for our political panel to be brought in. Joining me live from Washington, D.C. is Democratic strategist Peter Fenn. Also live in D.C., GOP strategist and pollster Chris Wilson. A very good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Let's see how the two of you are going to duke this out. I'll begin with you, Peter. Republican rival John McCain has criticized Senator Obama for previously opposing offshore drilling. Is Barack Obama shifting positions here, Peter?
Well, I'll tell you, I think you are seeing some movement on both sides. Obviously, John McCain was against offshore drilling, was against drilling, still is in Alaska. And you see Barack Obama now saying, look, we've got to solve this energy problem, and the Congress is unable to pass anything. I mean, the only people in this world, I think, with poorer approval ratings than us political folks, Chris, is probably the Congress right now. And I think the point here is that everybody has recognized we have got to do something, and we have to have alternative fuels, we have to drill, we have to think about nuclear power, we have to do a lot of things that we haven't done before if we're going to change the policy. And I think that's where Obama's coming from.
Well, that may be, but Chris, given that there may be something of a change here, does that then, from political perspective, give John McCain an opening on this issue?
Well, it does, and it's, I got to say, I agree with everything that Peter said, and it's sort of interesting because the way I come at it is I look at it from the political standpoint. I think, again, this is another example of Obama shifting positions between the primary and the general election. And it's been a very quick shift. It's sort of quixotic on his part, and I think the way in which he's handling it is the bigger problem than his new position, which is, candidly, from a public opinion standpoint, he's the right place to be for a general election now.
Okay, but yeah, I was going to say, why would he shift? Is it because you got to appeal to the left if you're a Democrat during the primaries, and then you got to appeal to the mass audience? Is that what you're saying, Chris?
Well, that's exactly right, and that's what he did. But again, the way in which he's doing it, he's trying to move so quickly that I think he's going to hurt himself with his base. And it's a little bit, he's a newer figure for the American people. Remember, John McCain's been around for 30 years. He's got a longer record. It's easier for him to say, I've thought this through, and now I arrive here. Obama's newer on the scene. It's tougher for him to make this movement. And even though, again, he is where 70% of the American people are now in terms of when you hit $4 a gallon gasoline, it drives opinion immediately. And Obama's got to shift on it. I just don't think he has done it in the best way politically.
But you know, Peter, you got to wonder when you're talking about politics, and you know, things change. Don't politicians? I mean, don't they have to learn to roll with it and see where the country is, get a temperature of how people are feeling, and then you have to accommodate. I mean, if you're going to be so rigid and sit in your positions, you're going to get a vote.
And that's one of the problems, Alex. You're absolutely right. I mean, people sense that rigidity in Washington. They want to see things done. They want to see things happen. And you know, the one thing that's happening here, I think, is that candidates are changing positions, have for a long time. The question is, are you changing them because you're pragmatic and want to get something done, or are you changing them just because of the politics? And, you know, everybody's open to this game. I mean, if you look at McCain, you know, he did the same. He did a total 180 on this. If you look at McCain on taxes, you know, he was against the Bush tax cuts. Now he's for them. You know, you see a lot of this in politics. The question really is, who has the temperament, who has the judgment, who has the ability to make the kind of changes that we need right now? Is this going to be a campaign of, you know, past versus future? And does John McCain represent those past policies, and Barack Obama represent the future? That's the argument that the Obama people are making. Not that he's rigid in his policy positions, not that he's, you know, a guy that just puts his finger up to the political winds. He's been very strong in a lot of positions, but he is pragmatic, and he will compromise in Congress to get an actual bill passed. And that's the good news, I think, for both candidates, hopefully.
Okay, well, you guys, usually it's Nick yelling at me in my ear saying, gotta go. This time it's John, calling John out. Anyway, I'm going to have both of you back later on next half hour. Thanks so much. Still ahead is the pyrotechnical. Let's bring in our political panel to weigh in on this. Joining me live from Washington, D.C., Democratic strategist Peter Fenn. Also in D.C., GOP strategist and pollster Chris Wilson. So, gentlemen, let's get right to this with the question to you, Peter. Who started it, and is it over now that John McCain says, let's move on?
Well, you know, we can talk about who started it for a long time. I mean, you had emails that were out there, nasty emails, false emails about Barack Obama. But I think that the key point here was Barack Obama was not pointing the finger at John McCain, and he was stating a fact that that he is not out of central casting. But the key point here, I think, Alex, is can we move on as a country here? Can we take what Martin Luther King said so many years ago, that we should be judged not by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character and by the character of our ideas? And that's where this campaign should be. It should be on a high plane. It should be on all that. So the hope, I think, for everybody out there is that there shouldn't be racial invective put into this campaign. Race is going to be a part of it. You know, people, you know, are going to vote the way they vote. But the fact of the matter is that that's not what's important. We've made great strides, and we should try to make even greater strides.
So, Chris, were the topic of race to continue here, if this doesn't put a damper on it, which candidate does it hurt or help more?
Well, I don't think there's any question it hurts Obama. And this was a week he wanted to be talking about the economy. That was his message of the week. And who's heard about the economy this week? Instead of that, we've heard about the race card. But I think you've got to look at a little bit more than just what we'd like to see happen here. And certainly we would like to see a campaign about issues from a standpoint of an issues voter set. But voters don't always vote on issues. And with the undecideds and the conservative Democrats that John McCain has to win this election, this is a very important issue. And it's not the first time Obama's been accused of playing the race card. Remember, Bill Clinton accused him of that in the primaries. And I think because of that, it is a huge mistake politically for Obama to do what he did in terms of, I don't look like the people on the dollar bill. I don't fit into typical patterns. And because of that, it's backfiring on him, and the polls show that. Yeah,
and Chris, John McCain's defending his campaign's new web video that mocks Barack Obama. Any chance that could backfire on McCain?
Yes, there's always that chance. But at the end of the day, what this is a humorous ad. You can take it and you can throw the the Paris Hilton ad who you showed during your celebrity photography picture segment. I think what we're looking at here is, again, a standpoint of ads that are getting Obama off message and are causing people to look at him not as this new, exciting, change-oriented politician, but somebody who has a degree of arrogance and celebrity, and that's not where Obama needs to be.
I'm curious about where John McCain's going to be later on today. I want to ask you about that, Peter, because we understand that he's going to be talking with the Puerto Rican reggaeton star, Daddy Yankee. What do you know about their relationship? What might you suspect?
Well, I imagine it's not real close, Alex. You know, I tell you, I think the problem right now that John McCain has is that he does not want to talk about his support of the Bush tax program. He doesn't want to talk about the Bush foreign policy. He doesn't want to talk about the health care costs and the lack of a plan. So that what he wants to do is he wants to talk, and you want to get out of here, don't you, Alex?
I can't talk anymore. I have to go. I'm bumming.
You gotta go at 12
Okay,
o'clock.
go. Chris Wilson and Peter Fenn. We'll make it up to you, because that's a wrap, everybody.